What government grants are available in 2021? If you're a first home buyer, there are a bunch of government grants available to you. In this video, we're going to go through all the grants, including the national and the state level ones, and a few you might not have even heard of. I'm Jaden, a mortgage broker from Hunter Galloway, the home for home buyers across Australia. In this video, we're going to step through all the grants you're entitled to, some bonus ones, and a couple of ways that you can build up your saving way quicker. So let's dive right in. So the three government schemes that are available for first home buyers across Australia are the First Home Loan Deposit Scheme, which is on new and existing properties, the Home Builder Grant, which is only available if you're building a brand new place or buying a brand new place, and the First Home Super Saver Scheme, which is available on both new and old properties. Let's start with the First Home Loan Deposit Scheme. The First Home Loan Deposit Scheme is available if you have a small deposit, less than 20%, and the government effectively goes as your guarantor. This can save you tens of thousands of dollars in lender's mortgage insurance that you'd otherwise have to pay if you have less than a 20% deposit. The massive downside to this scheme is there are only 10,000 spots made available each financial year. So each time there's been placements made available, they go within weeks. With over 100,000 first home buyers buying each year, realistically, you've only got a 1 in 10 chance of jagging a first home loan deposit scheme. So it's a bit of a lottery. There have been some extra places that have been made available in early 2021, but the banks are actually prioritizing anyone with a contract to sale. So you're not able to get a pre-approved or put your name down on the list. They're pretty much taking first come, first serve. If you've got a contract, there's still spots available, you can still get the first home loan deposit scheme on existing properties. On brand new properties, there's a bunch of spots available, so you might be potentially eligible for that. The only tip I'd give anyone that's trying to apply for the first home loan deposit scheme is you need to have your tax return done and available. So they require you to have your notice of assessment for 2021. So if you haven't done your tax, get it done now, because that's the only thing that might slow you down if you're trying to apply for the first home loan deposit scheme and you don't want to miss out. The second national scheme that's available for first home buyers is the Home Builder Grant. The Home Builder Grant is a tax-free government scheme which allows you to have up to $25,000 free government money towards your first home build, or if you're buying a brand new property. Now, from the 1st of January until the 31st of March 2021, this was scaled back to $15,000. So it's still free money potentially if you qualify. The main qualification is you have to have entered a building contract that you've entered into from potentially with the latest grant from the 1st of January 2021 to the 31st of March 2021. Outside of that, you won't qualify, and there's no news as to whether or not they're going to extend it at this stage. The good news is also with the Home Builder Grant, there are a couple of banks accepting Home Builder Grant as part of your deposit. Now, not all of them, they tend to still want at least 10%, so you still need to have a bit of cash savings, but still pretty cool. The third scheme available is the First Home Super Saver Scheme. Now, I reckon this scheme is massively underutilized, and it's only really good if you're not looking at buying right now. The First Home Super Saver Scheme allows you to make pre-tax contributions to your super fund, which means you can save a deposit quicker because you're paying less tax on it. A question I usually get asked is if you're in a job where they might be paying extra super, so say for example in some government agencies, they pay more than the standard super rate. Sometimes they pay 12, 14% towards your super, and people ask, well, can I claim that because they've been paying extra super? Unfortunately not. You have to make the extra contributions to your First Home Super Saver Scheme specifically for that scheme. And then to be able to work out how much you've contributed, you just go on the ATO MyGov website and get your letter of determination, which will tell you exactly how much you can pull out and use towards the deposit. We have a whole other video on the First Home Super Saver Scheme, so check it out below. Now, can you apply for multiple government schemes? Can you scheme stack? The answer is absolutely yes. A few months back, I was helping out Ben, who was buying in regional Queensland doing construction. He was able to claim the $15,000 First Homeowners Grant, the $25,000 Home Builder Grant, the bonus $5,000 regional Queensland First Homeowners Grant, and the First Home Loan Deposit Scheme. So you can totally stack. It's just subject to actually getting a spot on the scheme. Because like I said, the hardest one realistically is the First Home Loan Deposit Scheme because they go like hotcakes. So they're the national ones. What are the state-specific grants that you might be eligible for? The three that you might be eligible are the First Homeowners Grant, which is typically restricted to brand new properties, the state stamp duty concessions, which good news is available on both new and existing properties, and 3 additional government and state programs like the regional one that I mentioned earlier. Now going state by state, let's start with New South Wales. So in New South Wales, you'll get a $10,000 First Homeowners Grant to buy or build a property that no one has ever lived in before. So it doesn't work on existing properties. The good news, if you're buying an existing property, there is a stamp duty concession. So there's no stamp duty on purchases up to $650,000, and there's a discount on the stamp duty on purchases between $650,000 and $800,000. There's also no stamp duty on vacant land purchases up to $350,000 and a concession on vacant land worth between $350,000 to $450,000. So again, if you're looking at buying existing property, it's mostly the stamp duty concessions, which can still save you a bucket of money. What about the grants in Queensland? In Queensland, you'll get a $15,000 First Homeowners Grant if you're buying a brand new property that no one's ever lived in or building a brand new home. You could potentially also be eligible for a bonus $5,000 regional grant if you're building a new home or buying a brand new property in regional Queensland. There's a bunch of postcodes. It's places like Rockhampton, Mackay, outside of the major city centres. There's also stamp duty concessions. The stamp duty is waived on existing properties up to $500,000, and between $500,000 to $550,000 is discounted. Above $550,000, that's it. In Victoria, there's a $10,000 first homeowners grant in metro areas in Victoria, or up to $20,000 regional first homeowners grant if you're building in regional areas. The stamp duty concession in Victoria goes on existing properties up to $600,000, and then it's discounted between $600,000 to $750,000. There's also some temporary COVID stamp duty concessions available in Victoria. We have a whole other video on that, so you can check it out to be up to date. In Western Australia, there's a $10,000 first homeowners grant on newly built properties, or if you're building a brand new property. In WA, the stamp duty concessions aren't as good, so it's waived up to $430,000 and discounted between $430,000 to $530,000. So not as great, but if you can buy the right place for the right price, bonus. Now, a question we always get asked is, how do I apply for the scheme and who does what? So in the case of the first homeowners grant, usually you'll apply for the grant once you've had your loan approved and the bank will process it. It means it happens a bit quicker. But just be aware of some of the terms and conditions. For example, in Queensland and a lot of the other states, the first homeowners grant only applies to properties valued up to $750,000. On the first home loan deposit scheme, there are some qualifications around your income. You need to be earning as a single person under $125,000 or as a couple under $200,000. And there are some price limitations on the first home loan deposit scheme. For example, in Queensland, you can only buy an existing property up to $475,000, although it's a bit different, it's a new property. So there's lots of terms and conditions and subject to all sorts of things. So if you're thinking about buying a new property or trying to work out your eligibility on these grants, check out our page below. We'll go through all the qualifications and make sure you can definitely get these grants in 2021. So that's it for today, guys. That's our video on all the grants first home buyers are eligible for in 2021. What did you think? Did you know you're eligible for them? Are you going to use the First Home Super Saver Scheme? Ugh, it's a mouthful. If you do, let me know below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you need any help with your finance, whether you're in Brisbane, Sydney, or anywhere around Australia, hit us up at huntergalloway.com.au. See ya.